We are here, day number 3, ladies, day number 3. Thank you for your patience for logging in. I went from one challenge to the next challenge today on tech issues. But if you're here live with me, I'm so glad you waited around and just waited to get this party started. So if you're here live with me, comment live below so I know that you joined me. And then if you guys know the drill, if you are watching this on replay, comment replay so I know that you caught this later. Okay, so who is here with me presently and currently? I'm going to pop out my comments so I can see you guys while we are going on the training today. So, nutrition. Hey, Natasha. Yay, I see you here. Hey, I texted you a minute ago, so text me back. Okay, let's jump in. Let's rock and roll. Make sure I'm in the screen here. Yes. Okay. We are going to get started. We are going to rock and roll. Nutrition. Majority of the time in the DMs, when I have conversations with ladies, most of the time it's around nutrition. Because it's like, what am I doing? Because there is so much noise out there when it comes to food, when it comes to what to eat, what not to eat, what should I be eating, how much protein. Comment overwhelm if you've ever been in a space where nutrition is just like so confusing. Just comment overwhelm. Even though we're not going to speak overwhelm into existence, just drop it in there and go from there. So if you've ever been like, this is confusing, one thing says this, one thing says this, one thing says this, what am I supposed to do here? All that kind of good stuff, let me know. Okay. So what we're going to dive into today is, well, before we do that, before we jump into this whole conversation, I do want to get a little pulse from you guys. I see that you guys are pinging in live with me. Hi, Nicole. Yay, Casey. Love it. Hi, Maria. Okay, so what we're going to do is I need to hear kind of like just like a pulse from where you guys are at. So when you think, my whole topic today was going to be on you're eating healthy, but your body's not responding. Okay. Because I get a lot of women on calls, people that apply to my coaching program, and they're like, I eat really healthy. I'm like, okay, so if we're eating really healthy, why are our goals still 20 to 50 pounds? Like, why are we still trying to drop that amount of body fat if we're eating healthy? Okay, so that's what I was going to unpack today. But before we jump into that, I want to hear from you guys. So do you feel that your current eating habits are healthy? Drop it in the chat. Okay. Do you feel that if I said, hey, what is your current eating habits like? Would you say we eat healthy or we eat clean? Would you use that terminology to describe your eating habits? Drop me a yes or a no. It's one way or other. There's no gray area here, ladies. There's no gray area. Okay. So do you feel that you eat healthy? Yes or no? Oh, wait a second. Love it. Okay. My second part here is going to be how much. Okay. 80-20. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. So I'm going to stick with my topic. All right. So we're going to stick to it. So if we're eating healthy, because most of the time when I ask this question to clients, clients, potential clients in the conversations, all the things. So maybe me and you've had this conversation before, right? So when you say, well, we eat healthy, what is getting in the way, right? Like there's something getting in the way as to why your body's not responding, right? As to why you still have body fat to lose. Okay. So we're going to kind of unpack some of those things on why, like what's going on. Okay. So most of the time there is a line of eating clean, like eating, whoa, I just zoomed in and I zoomed in way too much to my outline here. It's like giant in my face. So most of the time when you go into eating, you can be meal prepping, you're not doing fast food, you eat super clean, like the ingredient box, like you're reading labels, you're like doing all things, right? But if you're still in a space where you feel inflamed, you feel soft, you still have 20 to 50 pounds to lose, or maybe you still bloated, And you're probably like, what is going on? And why is like I'm eating what I feel is accurate for my body, but like, why is my body not responding? Okay. So I'm going to show you why eating healthy while eating healthy and while eating for fat loss, two separate things, two separate strategies, because you could be over here eating healthy things, right? And consuming stuff that's good for you like that. If I looked at that, or if you look at that, or if you shared, hey, this is what I'm eating with somebody, they're like, yeah, that would be good for you. Okay. But there's a reason why eating healthy is going to look different, and the strategies to eating healthy and the strategies for fat loss are separate. And so we're going to kind of talk about what the merge is in between those. And ultimately, we're not going to talk about macros on today's training, but macros is a component to the process, but I'm going to talk about that later. Okay. I'm not diving into a macros training today. That is not what today's training is about. Okay. So if you're ready to learn more, comment yes in the comments. Comment yes, comment yes, comment yes. Tell me that you want to hear more about what we got going on today. Okay. Give me a quick yes in the comments. Show me you're here, ladies. Let's go. Also, I need to announce yesterday's winner. Drop a yes in the comments if you guys want to hear more. So a couple of years ago, I'm going to share my own story. And it's funny because it just popped up onto my Instagram, or not my Instagram, my memories. You know, Facebook sends you memories. And I made a post 8 years ago where it was me talking about feeling super inflamed, feeling like the entire post. I wish I would have screenshotted it. Yes, I think it was yesterday. I wish I would have screenshotted it. And I'm sharing the story because in the post, I was talking about how I feel super inflamed. I didn't use the word inflamed. I think I said fatigued in the post. And then I said, who wants to do no sugar, low carb? And I think there was one other thing I said to do on the post. And I was like, who wants to do this with me? And like me reading it now, like as someone that has walked with hundreds of clients over the last couple of years, and I'm like, ugh! Like I am like I look at that post and I remember feeling that, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna eat better, right? But I was overeating sugar. My body composition wasn't changing. I probably wasn't tracking any food at that time. I don't know. It was like 8 years ago. Okay. And I was pretty much under eating protein, which my husband, I'll probably only eat protein like once a day, once, maybe twice, maybe a shake and a meal at dinner, right? And overeating all the like healthy carbs. Like I'm going to have this smoothie over here, and I'm going to have a protein shake, and I'm going to have this supplement, and I'm going to add this, right? And then when you look at the whole day, you're like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But in reality, nothing that I was doing was strategic to wanting to feel better in my skin. And that's why I made that post 7, 8 years ago, where I'm like, oh, who wants to do this challenge with me? Or who wants to do this with me? And like, I just feel for that person. I feel for the me then, right? Because she just didn't know. And maybe you felt those things before where you're like, well, I'm eating well, I'm eating pretty clean, but my body's not responding. And the reason it's not responding is because I wasn't feeding it in a way that I needed to rebuild muscle and burn body fat. Because ultimately, in order to burn body fat, you need to have muscle, which we talked about training styles, and we talked about the training mechanisms and the training things you should be doing in order to get fat loss, right? We talked about that yesterday. So all of yesterday was super supportive on the training aspect and what needs to happen on the training. Now let's kind of switch gears on what needs to happen when it comes to food. So most high performing women, which that's what I work with. That's who I work with. That's who does the best in my programs. And that's why you're here. Okay. We basically run your bodies like we run, let's just say our calendars. We take on too much. We say yes. We overload it, under rest, and basically under fueled, where we're not even eating enough majority of the time. And you're probably like, well, if I'm in a deficit, if I'm eating not enough, like I should be good, right? Yes and no. So let's talk about what these why eating clean just isn't enough. So you can eat healthy foods and still be under eating all the nutrients that your body needs to survive, right? On the daily. And what's great about our bodies is that it will adapt. It will do what it tells you to do. But if you're not telling it to do what you want it to do by the types of foods and numbers and stuff that you want, like, it just won't respond. Okay? So you can eat healthy and still be under eating all the nutrients that your body needs. You can be eating all clean. You can like not even go out to eat and be like, we eat everything from home. And majority of the stuff we eat is from scratch. And we make sourdough. And we read all the labels. Okay, so we eat clean, but just because you're eating clean and maybe ordering from Thrive Market or what is that other, there's another one that, or Trader Joe's or whatever, where you're getting all the like better options that are packaged, right? We're eating clean, have better options. You can still be eating in a surplus, which a surplus of calories is going to put on body fat. Okay, you can still be overeating while eating clean. And then you also, the next point to this is you can be eating in a low amount of foods or not eating very much foods, but they can be really high in calories. Okay, an example of this, a perfect example of this is, oh, I don't eat breakfast, but I run through Starbucks. Okay, you get a venti, I don't even know half the drink names, caramel macchiato with whatever. Okay, you get what, I know you know what I'm trying to say here. So if you go, I don't eat breakfast, but I go and get this sugary drink and it was 900 calories because some of those drinks are absolutely insane when it comes to calorie intake. So even though you're like, well, I don't eat that much, if you really were to track every single thing you're eating, the volume of the food, even though it's like maybe something this big, the volume of that is super high in calories. So could be potentially why you're not losing fat. Okay. And so when you look at it as a whole, you're like, oh, I don't eat that much food, but then the food you're consuming is high volume. So those are a couple of things to be thinking about and why it's so crucial to have full awareness around what you're consuming. So when we shared yesterday about why we have to put on muscle mass, your metabolism runs off of having the more muscle you have. Like if you have muscle on your body, your metabolism is going to be ramped up. The more muscle you have, the better, okay? Because it's going to use more energy to support the muscles on your body. So that's the goal. So if you're under eating in protein, which protein supports the muscle growth, right? When you break down all those fibers, you have amino acids from the protein that helps build the muscle mass. And if you're under eating your protein, your body will break down your muscles for energy. Okay? When it breaks down your muscles, what does that do to your metabolism? Slows it down, right? Because remember, the more muscle we have, the higher the metabolism. That's good. Higher metabolism means it uses more energy. We want that. We want a high metabolism. So if you're burning, as I shared yesterday, you burn fewer calories at rest that way, right? So we want to make sure that, or no, sorry, I was saying if we eat under eating, we don't want to burn calories. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if that came out right. My brain is like, you're going to burn fewer calories at rest, so then you're going to be storing fat, okay? So what we want to do is have more muscle, so we're using more calories and we're burning more calories at rest. That is the goal. Hopefully that made sense after that. So if you feel that you are doing everything right, but nothing changes, this is where you need to kind of come into awareness phase and have an understanding of what foods am I consuming, how much of the foods am I consuming, where should I be at based on what my goals are, all those kind of things. Okay. So if all of this is landing, give me a quick like fire emoji or something in the comments if this is all like landing for you guys, or big takeaway. You could drop a takeaway too. Either one. And then we're going to go into a strategy around how to fix some of these things. Okay. So this is a 3-part phase. So we're going to talk about protein, fiber, and fats today. And why? Okay. So the reason I picked these ones, or these segments to talk about, is because These are things that you can apply right now, like right away, and really just take away from this. Okay, so I'm going to give you some of the frameworks to think about. And then I also want to just remind you that you guys have in the file section of this Facebook group, in the file section, that, and you also got it when you first signed up in your email. But this is it's basically shares all of the things that I share in my coaching program, where it's like breaks down the nutrition aspects for you guys. Okay. Simplifies it. It's some of the same methods I teach in my coaching program. So if you've not looked at that file, go check it out. Okay. It'll also support you on this, like the nutrition aspect. Simplified. Okay. Because there's a lot of stuff out there. It's a lot. And even after years of studying it, sometimes I'm like, what is everyone talking about? Like, like I get it. I totally get it. And I'm pretty affluent in it, right? So it's just a bunch of information, and new data comes out all the time, which is great, which is things that we get to continue learning from. So let's talk about what these things and these structures are that you can actually implement right now, immediately, next meal. Okay. So number one, we already kind of touched on it, which is going to be your protein. Okay. Now, the simplest thing to do, I'm going to get out my calculator because I am better with a calculator. We're just going to say that. So, protein. So this is where we build the muscle. It helps your muscle, preserve your muscle. It also helps with hunger control. Okay, so if you are consuming enough protein, you're not going to have as many cravings. You're going to be able to last longer without needing more food. It really supports all the things. So if the protein aspect in there is also not, if you're not getting in enough protein, you're going to have a lot of other things be the side effects of that. Okay. Now, does every single thing you eat have to have protein in it? No, it does not, because the amount of like recipes on the internet right now is like this high protein this and this high protein that, and this has 800 and 900 grams of protein. It doesn't need to be like that. Okay. Not every single thing that you consume has to have protein in it. Just putting that nugget out there. However, you do need to hit your targets throughout the day. So comment below real quick before we jump in any further. Do you know what your protein target should be based on your goals right now? Say yes or no. Do you know what your protein target should be based on your goals right now? Waiting for y'all's responses. Let me know in the comments. Oh, I love all these fire emojis. Fire! So good. Okay. Good. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay, so I've got no. All right, so we're going to talk about it. So protein targets. The simplest thing that you could do, and I'm just going to give you simple numbers because we don't need to overcomplicate things. I want you to think what your goal body weight is. Okay? If your goal body weight is, let's just say you're 180 and you're wanting to get to 150. If your goal body weight is 150, you will eat and consume 150 grams per protein per day. Okay? So I'm going to type 150 into my thing, whatever this is, calculator. Okay, once you type in your 150, so it's 1 gram per goal body weight. Simplified, okay? There is a range that we can talk about. We're not talking about the range. We're doing something simple today so that it lands and you can take action with it, okay? 150. Now, how many meals a day do you eat? For me, I eat 5 meals a day. I absolutely love eating. And every 2 hours, I want to eat something, which is also what I teach my clients to do, okay? Where we're constantly fueling ourselves and making sure that we are good to go, all right? There's no like overeating or any of that kind of stuff. So 5 meals a day. So if I was to take this 150 grams per day and divide it by, I'm sure you guys are getting where I'm going here, that's 30 grams of protein per meal. Okay, that's your simplified number. That's an example. So real quick, I want everyone to do their own numbers right now. You don't have to type out the whole thing, but I want you to know what your daily intake should be. What is your daily intake? Is it I want to be 130. I'm going to consume 130 grams. And if it is 130, what is it per meal for you? Because you might be like, oh, I can't do 5 meals a day, but I can do 3 meals a day. Then you're going to do your division that way. So again, you would do your goal body weight. If it's 130, that would be the grams you would eat per day. And then you divide that by the meals. Let's say you're going to do 4 meals. All right, I got 32 grams per meal. Okay, so drop it in the comments so you know what your number is. All right, so what this would look like is, as now that you've done that, you got to think of like, okay, what is quality protein? Quality protein. Quality protein is not always, so the way I coach is I coach women to start with whole foods. I'm not going to be that coach that says, hey, go to supplement all your protein stuff first, and then we'll figure out the whole foods later. No, I start with whole foods. We will figure out what God made it. We consume it first. That is how I think about food. That is how I teach my girls how to think about food. I'm like, hey, they're like, can we have whatever they ask for? I'm like, well, is that something that God made? Like, did God make that? And so it is part of our conversation. So they start to realize, oh, these are the types of foods that God already gave us that we can consume. So proteins, God gave us beef, chicken, eggs. Yes, you guys get what I'm saying? Fish. These are things that would land under your protein intake. Each one of those have different variants of, protein intake and all the stuff. But basically, you want to stick to a protein so it'll help you hit your goals. And then it is going to reduce those cravings, and it's going to build the lean muscle on your body that you're looking for. Okay. And to drop the body fat that we want. So number 1 is going to be protein. Everyone, now I see you in the comments. Yes, you've got your protein goals, your grams that you're going to be consuming. Now you're probably like, well, what do I do with that number now? We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, number two. These are the things that you can implement immediately. Number 2 is going to be fiber. Fiber. You do not need to have a fiber green drink. You don't need to be having, isn't there like I don't know, there's so many stuff out there, like a gut, whatever. Like, no, what we need to consume is your veggies. Again, God made it, we consume it. Keep it simple. These are little things that will help. These are key for perimenopause. And if you've got hormonal high cortisol, fat, and looking for that fat loss component, fiber supports that estrogen component. Okay. So we want to make sure that we do consume fiber. It needs to be part of your plan. So again, things that I teach in my coaching program, we have greens majority of the meals, at least 2 of them. Okay, greens at those meals. And you also can get them from like your berries and stuff like that you can add in for breakfast. So each meal should have some type of fiber as part of the layout of a balanced plate. So number 1, protein. Number 2 is going to be your fiber. And then number 3 is going to be fats. You're probably like, what? But fats make you fat. They do not. If you believe that, I'm busting that myth right now. Fats do not make you fat. Here's what happens with fats. Fats are 9 calories per gram. 9 calories per gram. So you will quickly stack up. If you're consuming a high fat content, you will quickly stack up on calories. Okay, so it's something to be aware of. That's why the fats, like if you've ever done like 21-day fix, or like, oh, a thumbnail or a thumb, that's how much fat you should have like per meal or whatever. Or no, that wasn't 21-day fix, or the Beachbody one. I think that one was the containers, right? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because here's what we're going to talk about today. So the fats are going to be giving you energy. They also help in hormone production. And they also help with your body's natural ways to produce your estrogen, your progesterone, I always mess up that word, and cortisols, okay? And balancing all that. So if you're not consuming fats, it also helps with all of the like women's stuff we have down there, doing the things that it needs to be doing, okay? That's some of the fat things that it does. And fats also help us when it comes to brain capacity, helps us sleep better and everything like that. So we want to make sure fats are part of what we're doing here. They've got to be part of your plan. So when your meals, when you're balancing these plates out and you've got all these components part of what you're eating, your blood sugar is chill. You're not having these like high and low crashes throughout the day. So then that makes your energy great. It's nice and stable. You're not, going into crazy cravings. You're not hitting any like, oh, I need more caffeine at 4 p.m., which stop doing that after 12 anyways. Okay. So it stabilizes that blood sugar and it makes you not feel so like, okay. So we want those meals every time that you are balanced or making a balanced plate. They need to have all the stuff. Okay. Okay. So comment balance. If you are taking action on this right now, today, next meal, comment balance. Comment balance. All right. Now, if you're probably like, okay, but how does this work when it comes to your fat loss? Okay. Fat loss. So when you are consuming, your body's energy is going to be like right here. Okay. And this is you normal. The more you move, the more energy you use. Okay. The more you walk, the more you do steps, the more you twitch, all of those things. Okay. This is all happening to move the needle. You want these things happening so that you get into a deficit. So I'm moving. Okay, now I'm in a deficit. A deficit is where you are eating less than you move. And you guys have probably heard that concept before. You got to eat less than what you actually are doing. Now, there's multiple different ways to get into a caloric deficit. Some people think it's the only way to do that is to eat a low amount of food. No, which is what MyFitnessPal will tell you to do. It's like, oh, this is your goal. Okay, I'm going to give you 1,200, 1,100, 1,000 calories a day that you need to consume, which is incorrect. It does not have to happen that way. Now, you do need to be in a deficit. Science says you need to be in a deficit in order to drop body fat. There's multiple ways you can do that. In order to be in a deficit, you can move more. You can move more by doing more steps. You can move more by putting on more muscle mass. And you can move more by doing steady state cardio. Okay? Not HIIT. We already talked about that yesterday. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to just burn calories. We're trying to be efficient and effective for fat loss. Okay? These are the 3 ways that you can burn more or get into a deficit without having to drop your calories. Every single one of you has what is called a maintenance number. This is what your specific body, based on your age, your height, your activity level, and I missed something. Age, height, activity level, and weight. Okay. So all of those things combined, you're at a maintenance level. This is your number that, like, if you ate at that, you would not gain weight and you would not lose weight doing the activity you're currently doing. Okay. In order to get into that deficit, this is where we add the strategic workouts, strategic steps, taking your steps up, your activity level up, or maybe even adding in that steady state cardio. Okay. So if we do those things, then we're in a deficit. And guess what? We didn't have to change the calories. Okay. We're up to the amount of activity level. Now you're in the deficit. Great. You get to consume the same amount of calories that you were doing. Now, what also can be done is you can stay, okay, these are my activity level. I can't go to the gym anymore. Like, this is all I can do. Okay, fine. Then what we could do is we could drop a little bit of the calories. But we have to know what the calories that you're consuming to even drop it. And so, as I said, I'm not going to go into macro training on today's training. It was really just an understanding of like, how can I eat and consume for fat loss? One, it's the balanced plates. Making sure that's there, and then 2, a little understanding of what happens and how do we get into a caloric deficit. The next step to that would then be to track your foods, then to hit macro numbers, and then to making sure that we're hitting all of our macros. Okay, so it's kind of a phased process. I personally do not coach with hey, here's 50 million things to do in order for you to achieve it. Today's goal is to, as you guys said, you gave me all the things that you said, and balanced plates is where we need to be. Okay. And having an understanding of that protein intake. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I've gotten my macro numbers before, so I don't need any more help with that. Here's what happens with macros. If you are consuming the same amount of food, your body is going to adapt to that amount. If you're not changing your workouts, if you're not changing anything, your body will adapt, and you will potentially get to, which someone shared the other day, a plateau. And if you hit a plateau, you got to know what to do next. And that's where having a coach comes in that actually understands the body component to help you move all the things, move the needle. Because sometimes a plateau will happen. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the data say? What things do we need to change in order to make sure that we get through that plateau? Okay, so here's the good news. Not good news. Here's just awareness. Most high achievers, I am this woman. I fall in this category. So we tend to fall into two different spaces. Number one, we fall into I'm all in, perfect meals, no mistakes, whether you're tracking, maybe you're like not eating out, maybe like I said in that post I shared that, oh, I'm just going to take out all the sugar. I'm going to go all in on this effort. I also too, if you've heard part of my story on Instagram or any of my other stories, it's where it was like a constant, I need to do this shake program or this 21-day fix or this detox or this. I did that for years, like years, thinking that was going to be the thing to make me healthy, right? The all in. Don't mess up. So remember, again, we fall into two buckets. It's all in, everything's perfect, no mistakes, or I'm off. I'm doing stress eating, emotional eating, go through the drive-through too many times, and then it's like guilt and shame and frustration and feeling gross in our body. Now, you can't live in the extremes. And I used to live there. Okay, it is not fun, and I understand. What we got to do and what we can do and what is possible is where we bring it all together. Okay, and I know someone shared that in the comments a second ago, right? The like 80-20, which is we want to majority of the time be in the real, whole, intentional foods, real foods. Okay, God made it, we consume it. And you got a little bit of flex over here. The flex is the having the pizza at the birthday party, not eating 3 pieces and no balance with it, right? Have the pizza with a Caesar salad, have a pizza with a bowl of fruit, something like that, right? Or an added chicken. That's how I like to eat my pizza. I'm like, oh, give me a piece of pizza and let me throw some extra chicken on there. Okay. But having those things and having a little bit of that flexibility to go alongside of it. Okay. And that's how I actually get my clients to drop anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds, like still eating the things they love, tacos. They travel. Like I have a client right now who's at the Fredericksburg Wine and Food Festival for like a week. Okay. And they're still on track. Like she just told me today, she was like, oh, I just put on a pair of pants I hadn't buttoned in the last two years. I was like, what? Like, that's so good. And she's only 3 months into the program because life should be sustainable. You should not have to live in these hardcore extremes. And it took me a lot of practice to get out of it, which is why that's part of my coaching program, is because I help women to do those things, getting out of those cycles and to learn what their body needs, right? So they can get the fat loss goals that they're wanting, so they can look like they work out, so they can own the rooms they walk into, so they are respected. Again, I gave you all that statistic the other day. People that look fit are more respected. All right, comment flexible if you want fat loss that is going to fit your life and not take it over. Type flexible. I just want you to know, like, what you're doing, you just need some tweaks. You know what I mean? Like, you're not eating wrong. It just has no real strategy behind it to get you to the results that you're looking to get. And if you're looking for anywhere from like 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds of fat loss, like there gets to be a strategy to follow. Because food isn't the enemy. Food is fuel. Food is like the bomb. Food is like delish. And we should get to enjoy it and not have to feel like every single thing that we're doing needs to be a new diet, follow a new plan, follow a new strategy. No, it just needs to have a structure behind the system or a structure behind it where it's got protein, it's got a rhythm, it's got flexibility to match your lifestyle. Love it. So tomorrow is the how to stop starting over and building results that last. Because that's the key thing here is not starting over. Not starting over every 5 seconds to follow this influencer and follow this person's thing and follow this person's thing. We don't want to do that. Like, we just want to continue growing and continue learning and continue holding ourselves to a higher standard and like just keep going, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. Hey, if you got any value from today, comment value. Comment value. I can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's training is one of my favorites. Actually, they're all my favorite. They're all my favorite topics. All the things I love. But I love that you guys are getting value from it. That's what's most important. That you guys are getting value. You're getting action steps. You're getting things that you're going to be taking away and implementing into your life. That's my biggest takeaway. Like, that's what I hope for everyone that comes into this container, into the Chaselynn Fitness programs. Like, I want you to take action. And that is what is most important. Okay? So after today's training, I want you to go into the Facebook group. You guys know there's a deep dive. So go through the deep dive, listen to the podcasts, and then drop your takeaway from today's training. Drop your biggest takeaway from today's training in the Facebook group. So you could share with other people what is like you're taking away, what you were going to be implementing. And then also you guys need to be booking your 20-minute strategy calls. All right. You're only in this container for a hot second, and I want you clear on what you need to do next. I want you clear on what your goals are. I want you clear on your game plan. I do not want you to leave here without like any structure or strategy moving forward, because every single one of you has something very different that you need for your strategy. Okay. Every single one of you has a very different goal. Every single one of you put something very different on the form, okay, when you signed up. And I know that you're here for a reason. And I want you to have clear action steps on what to do next. All right, so make sure you guys get those calls booked. I've got calls tomorrow and I've got calls on Friday. And I know, I'm talking to, who am I talking? I'm talking to Jen tomorrow. I can't remember who else is on my schedule. All right, so let's get those booked. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. Oh, I don't know what's going on with my fitness app. I went into my app today and half of my clients are not even on my roster. So I need to get in there, and I submitted a work ticket to the software company. So hopefully we will hear back from them. I'll keep you guys posted. So if you try to log in, that's pretty much what's going on right now. So give me a hot second. I'll update you guys here in the Facebook group once I have clarity around like what really happened, because I have no idea. That is, in the last 5 years that I've used this program or this software, none of that has ever happened. So basically everyone just disappeared off of my my roster. So we'll get it taken care of. I'll take care of you guys. Love y'all. And I will see you guys. Don't forget, post in the Facebook group, deep dive, and book your calls. All right. Love y'all.